Okay. All right, here we go.
Oh, you just don't have to.
I guess because of all the nice water feeding this area here. So what I wanted to start with is this plant. You guys know this one?
Mustard.
Yeah.
Is that mustard?
Garlic mustard.
Garlic mustard?
Garlic mustard, yeah.
Nice smell.
I smell.
It actually doesn't have much of a smell. Now, I did see someone you could try a leaf if you don't mind it being this close to the road. Otherwise, there is some up further. I mean, it looks nice.
Thank you.
It definitely has a garlicky taste, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it does.
Yeah. So this plant is really cool. It is an early plant. You can see, like right here on the top, it's going to flower soon, and the flower will be white, and then the leaves will become more bitter. But so I knew this plant. In the spring, we do pick it. The kids eat it. They like to eat the onion chives that grow in the grass, and just grab it and eat the leaves for fun. But I did like a little bit of research, and I always like to look at historically, like how people use plants, like culturally, and like for generations or like hundreds of years, so that it's not like this new age kind of like application of herbal medicine, but it's like centuries of time that people use this particular plant in a certain way. So garlic mustard has some really cool names. One of them is Jack by the Hedge.
Mama,
and the other is called Sauce Alone, which is a weird name. Country people at one time used the plant in sauces, so it got the name Sauce Alone. So they would make sauces, put it in the sauce. They ate it with bread and butter. They ate it with salted meats. They ate it in salads with lettuces. And the properties of this plant warms the stomach and strengthens the digestion. So most of mustard plants have an effect on the circulatory system, a warming effect. And the bitterness, all plants that have a bitterness are really beneficial for digestion. So this has both of those. It has the digestive bitter action and the warming circulatory action. So besides being a good food to eat, they also, like historically, this plant was used as a topical medicinal treatment. So it would be applied as a poultice. And in my class last time, do you want to just stay here and help me with her? So, I talked about a poultice at my last class. Do you remember what the poultice is, Billy Dawn?
Usually, get the herbs and chop them up, and then apply them to the skin. Usually, like a warm, moist compress over top.
Yeah.
Sometimes saran wrap.
Yeah.
Keep the moisture heat in.
So a poultice is where you actually take the herb or the plant and you apply it directly to the skin. We're doing a no TV fast. We're doing no TV, no technology like we started last weekend. So typically I would have probably said take her inside and put the TV
They're
on.
fun days.
So we've been doing it a week, and I was like so determined to stick to it, but this is proving difficult at the moment. We were gonna try to do it for 40 days.
Ooh.
Except for work purposes. Hold my hand, a car is coming, or you're going inside with Daddy. All right. we don't really have as much need for plants being applied to the skin for like healing purposes as people used to, because there are so many topical ointments and topical creams and doctors to go to. But peasants, people who lived off the land, country people, they didn't have the CVS, they didn't have the pharmacy, they couldn't just go to the grocery store and buy their ointments and Neosporin and everything. So they use plants topically for all kinds of skin problems, bruises, wounds. So this plant, this garlic mustard, was antiseptic. So it would have the ability to cleanse a wound topically. It was used for ulcers topically. This plant, the garlic mustard, is also a vermifuge, meaning it will expel worms. Now that's not a topical preparation, but taken internally, eating it. The plant was pureed or chopped up and then applied to the chest as a decongestant. And then I have used mustard plasters with the kids and mustard foot soaks. So along those same lines, where you take the mustard seed, the dried mustard seed or mustard powder, and you make a paste and you apply it to the skin. Or if you're doing that, since this plant is hot, you want to put like a layer of some kind of vegetable oil or olive oil. And I think we probably should just go back to the yard. I think I can find these other plants because she's just making me nervous. Yeah, let's. When we get herbs, I think are so wonderful. It's like winter's done. You maybe didn't eat so well in the winter time.
Yeah.
And then like here are all these plants that are going to cleanse you and clean your body and get you healthy, like dandelions and the garlic mustard and these other ones that I'm going to talk about. So I just think it's so cool that just naturally happens. But the word I said was deobstruent. It removes obstructions in the body, and mainly in the urinary tract. So any kind of sediment or like pre-stone issue or something, it's going to move. And
my husband just passed 2 kidneys down.
oh my gosh! Well, they're all so many of the spring herbs are perfect for the urinary tract, the kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I want to see if I can find oh, you know what? It's up there. Let's go. I'll pause. Plant here. This plant. Anybody know that plant?
I see it all the time.
Burdock or something, or
It's not burdock, but you know what? It looks really like burdock. It also resembles another plant that we grow in our garden and make in a pie with a pie.
Rhubarb. Is it?
It's in the rhubarb family. It's a dock.
Okay.
So this one is a broadleaf dock, and the docks are genus Rumex. You don't have to write this down. And I don't even know how to say it. It's Polygunaceae family, but the genus is always usually Rumex. What? That's not happening right now. So one of the docks that I always buy powdered is called yellow dock, and it has a curly leaf right there at our plant, stepping on it. And it has a very, very, very yellow root. This is the broadleaf, and I dug up one in my garden a couple days ago, and when you dig it, that root too is very yellow. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This plant is considered like invasive. It's annoying. It loves good soil, so it will grow in your garden. And I have it growing in my garden, and its roots are so big and thick, and I never get all of it. It's like deep.
Is that stuff that when you pull it? Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
You
It's
can't
orange.
even pull it.
This stuff that we pull it doesn't come up.
it
It's
lets your
orange.
hands orange. I forget
They
what it's
turn
called.
orange. I don't know what it is.
Silanon, or I forget what it's called.
Okay, it's All right.
It's not the same thing.
I can't pull it.
Yeah.
You cannot pull that root.
Yeah.
It's like this thick
Uh-huh.
root. But anyway, I dug up what I could with the shovel and washed it really well. I had my friend, she was helping me. We chopped it into pieces and I'm drying it right now because docks are really useful. Now the leaves you don't want to eat, even like animals like cattle and cows and sheep. They don't really want to eat these leaves. They're kind of tough and not that interesting for the even the animals. The baby shoots can be eaten, but there's a lot of other greens that are like, especially even the garlic mustard, that taste better. So what I like to use, or what is mainly used, are the roots. This plant is astringent. So astringent plants tighten tissues, so it's really good for the digestive tract to firm and tighten everything from your mouth, your esophagus, all the way down through all of your intestines. It's tightening tissues. It is very good for cleansing the intestinal tract. It's called a cathartic herb, and it excites peristalsis. It stimulates glandular secretions, so like liver, gallbladder. It's getting those secretions activated so that your digestion is better. And one thing that I found that was super interesting is that there's actually a lot of interesting things about this plant. But the leaf, they call this butterdock sometimes because in old like country farmers markets, they would wrap butter in the leaf because it was like this big sturdy leaf.
Mm-hmm.
The leaf can be a remedy for a stinging nettle sting. So if you get, do you guys have stinging nettles?
Enough to really do anything.
Yeah, my friend has 8 acres and she's like so many gorgeous. I went the other day and cut nettles there. She's so many beautiful
It's about
nettles.
that high now.
Yeah, it took a while to get.
It's good to put butter and garlic on it after you boil it. We
I
eat
stir fried it
You
with
stir fry it.
oil and garlic.
Okay,
like I
yeah.
just threw it in the pan.
Yeah, that's pretty
we
much
love
what we do too. Yeah.
And put it on our pizza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's good. Like I've put it in all kinds of things and soups and whatever.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
every spring we do one. I'll soon go out and get fiddleheads too.
I don't have those here either, but yeah, a lot of people love fiddleheads.
Yeah.
So this is in the one book I have there, the book that says it helps with nettle stings. You're supposed to say this little poem when you're putting it on for the nettle sting, and I just wanted to share it. It says, nettle in, dock in, nettle out, dock, rub, nettle out. I just thought it was funny that at some point somebody was doing that, saying that as they're trying to get rid of the nettle sting.
Yeah.
Typically, docks are also blood cleansing plants. So, spring cleaning. You're like cleaning your house and you're cleaning your body. All these like spring plants are gonna clean and cleanse. So that's broadleaf dock. It looks like a rhubarb in a sense because of that red. I have rhubarb up in my garden. And let's keep going.
Kind of moving around a little bit. I think we got it now.
Okay.
you
Yeah,
wanna-
I thought we'll just identify what she's going to be
Sure.
talking about.
But then you
So-
can take the lamb's ear and just
Okay.
wrap
Thank you.
an injury. Instead of using like a cloth or another kind of like topical, I guess cloth. Instead of using a cloth, that's what I've done. So I'm trying to think like when my kids, like if they get, bang their shin or something and they have a bruise, or even just like from sports, something is hurting, or I'll take those, put them in the water, and then you just like, by putting them in the boiling water, it just like breaks down the structure of the plant a little bit, so like the the juices are released, and so that the properties will like soak into the skin better. Like if you just take the leaf, that could be a temporary like bandage, but by making it hot with the water, now it's going to like soak into the skin and start like healing and bringing down. It does bring down swelling. It does take away some pain. So we've used it that way. Otherwise, it's just a pretty plant that I like to have in the garden. But it's useful. I try to plant things that are useful and not just. You guys have these, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
they're called Cleavers or Clivers with an I, Clivers. And the one year we discovered them only a couple years ago. My kids, I mean, they were like growing it in this area like so much, and they like were pulling them out. And they're wrapping them on their body, and like they had like this armor. And I'm like, what is this crazy plant? And it's got a lot of names. Sticky weed is one.
Just right there, really sticky.
Yeah. Goose grass, rip grass, catchweed, love man, goosebill, mutton chops, everlasting friendship. So this plant, most of its names are old, like they've been around. So plants have common names, and there are usually many common names for a plant, and that's why it's important to learn the scientific name, because like you could say, if you give a common name, either maybe someone doesn't know that particular common name, or another plant could have a similar common name. So it's Gallium Apparine, the Latin name. Every plant has its Latin name and then common names, which can be many. So the origins of these names are derived from the Anglo-Saxon hedgerife, meaning a tax gatherer or robber, from its habit of plucking the sheep as they pass near a hedge. So that's like the concept of this plant. Goose grass refers to the fondness of geese for the herb. So they like this herb. It's often collected to give to poultry, which we should give. We have ducks. I don't know where they are. So we should give this to the ducks. But cows and horses and sheep like it as well. One year I pulled out lots of it and I juiced it and drank it. I was drinking chickweed juice, cleaver juice, and so this plant and what you were sharing earlier is a diuretic. It is very useful for cleansing the urinary tract. It's been used for dropsy, for swelling, like swelling in the body from holding on of too much fluids. This I found really interesting, and I haven't done this at all. I've tried the seeds raw. Apparently, the seeds dried and roasted taste very much like coffee. And I know they're not big seeds. They're not like as big as a coffee bean, but I am going to try this. So another useful way that the peasantry, the shepherds applied this plant was by making it into a sieve. Sieve to strain milk. Like a quick handy colander that they would put together. So that was really cool to me. Nature is just has so many purposes, and the plants are just, they like give in so many ways. But I love this plant. We discovered it a few years ago, and I really should juice some while it looks so nice and fresh. If you want to, it's a sticky, but if you don't mind the stickiness, you can taste a little bit.
Sticks on the way down a little.
Alright, we're gonna go.
Pulling the tap.
It's better. Alright, so this is Henbit. And I don't think I have any that's flowering yet, but if you want to pass that around and look close, you'll see little purple dots. And there is going to be a beautiful little purple flower that comes up.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was just a few over.
Did you see some blooming?
I think so, because I made a mental note to ask you if you knew what it was.
Okay. So Henbit, it's also called Henbit dead nettle, and I was going to share with you purple dead nettle, which I have up at the garden, and it's not like stinging nettle, and I don't even think they're the same family. They just have that same name. It's Lamium amplexicale, and I'm not a scientist. I don't know how to say these Latin names. Lamium, Lamium, amplexicale. It's native to the Mediterranean. So henbit is like one of those weeds that is like a friendly weed, and people don't try to get rid of because it's pretty. And it has, well, people get rid of dandelions, and I'm not talking about dandelions today because you know dandelion well. But dandelions are so important. I hate that they get sprayed by weed killer. But these, people who kill weeds would kill that too. But it's very important in the ecosystem for pollinating insects like bees and butterflies. So if you have henbit, what I started doing when I noticed that my plants that I buy to plant weren't growing, I'm like, all of my weeds look good, but all the plants I'm growing here do not look good. So I'm like, I'm leaving these weeds. And then I would start to figure out, what is this weed? Because everything else I plant is not growing. So leave your weeds because they are useful. Henbit. Animals love henbit. So you can give this to your animals. And then for us, the leaves, and you guys don't have it, you can try a leaf. This is considered a young leaf because it doesn't have it does not have the flowers yet. So the young leaves and shoots can be eaten raw or cooked, and the flowers can be eaten as well. And I think okay, good girl. That flowers, I'm pretty sure they are used in homeopathic medicine. And is anyone familiar with flower essences?
Flower essence.
Bach flower essences.
Remedies.
Yeah. So I made a couple last year. I really should do it with that bush right now, or that white one. Would you gather flowers when they're at their peak, when they look the nicest, and these will have these really cool purple flowers, and basically you put them in a ceramic dish of water, cover the top layer of the water with the flower, like making sun tea, and then you drain off the flowers and you add 50% brandy. But when you bottle it and take it as a remedy, you're taking just 1 or 2 drops at a time. And it, I guess the way the essences work, it's more like you're getting the energetics. It's like sun teas have this special built-in sun magic or medicine that boiling water on the stove does not give your plants.
Well, how long do you let the flowers in the water with the
I think
alcohol?
it's you don't. So you let them in the sun
Let 'em in the
for
sun.
I think it's at least 5 hours. You try to want to have a full day.
And
Then you take it in, strain it, and then to bottle it or jar it, I would use a quart jar or something, and do 50% of the water, 50% of the brandy,
Okay,
because otherwise your water would spoil.
right, yeah.
But I did lilac. Lilac was awesome, and I did comfrey flower. I only had 2 that I did last year, but I still have some of the lilac, and it has that essence to it. They're neat. But this plant I know would be used that way because of the really purple, pretty flower. So let's go over here to